Hello and welcome back. So continuing on with the Sculpt tool projector, in this video Lee has proposed to add more functionality to the projector.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
yeah. We're going to be doing stuff.
Okay.
Now, like I was saying, right now we've got a tool that not only paints itself onto the train, but it also paints it on everything else in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So currently, which is only our character. So we're going to have to address that. And as we were mentioning before, because the sculpt tool doesn't exist before the moment we hit play, we have to do that in code. So we're going to learn how to be able to add things to layers and adjust layer mask procedurally. So we're going to look at that, and I'd also like to be able to change the size of our brush. So we're going to add some functionality to deal with that as well. So let's get started. The very first thing that we're going to do in this video is jump over to code and deal with the problem of it drawing on everything in the screen. To do this, we're going to use layers. We've got our terrain set up so it automatically adds itself to a layer terrain. So we're going to add our brush object to the same layer. So this isn't going to stop it from drawing it on anything but the terrain layer, but it's going to make the brush object part of the layer, because later on, when we start using multiple cameras and we're going to be masking out certain layers, I don't want a camera that is not rendering anything to do with the terrain to not render the terrain but still render the projector for the terrain, because that will look really weird having your brush painted on nothing.
Right.
So we're going to add our brush to the terrain layer. So to do that, we're going to call on layer mask, name to layer. And this is just simply a way of taking a string and converting it to a layer, because a layer mask is a bit. And all we're doing is we're flipping bits of what layer we're in. And that is a 32-bit. So we've got 32 choices. That makes it a fairly small single byte. Now a byte is 32. 802. Yeah, so it's a byte. It's early. I'm sticking to that story. No, terrain, not terrain. All right, so we've added our brush object to terrain. So the next thing I want to do is tell our projector to ignore everything but the terrain. So to do that, we're going to say projector dot ignore layers. Now this one gets interesting. We're basically going to say take one and shift it by our layer mask dot name to layer, and this is going to be terrain. So that would basically be telling it to only ignore the terrain, which is not what we want it to do. So we want it to tell it to ignore everything but the terrain. So we put the little tilde, I believe that's what that's called, in front of it to invert it. So that will cause the projector to only draw on the terrain. At least that's what it's supposed to do. So let's go ahead and see what happens when we run it now. So if we go ahead and hit play, and we look at our sculpt tool is now part of the terrain layer.
Cool.
And if you try to draw over the top of her, we no longer draw over the top of her. And if you look at the projector's ignore layer, I expand this out. Yep.
Hang on, there you go. What are you clicking on?
I'm
There
trying
you
to
go.
click. So you can see we're ignoring everything but the terrain.
Mm-hmm.
So that's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. All right. So far, so good.
Well, not
Yeah.
really. How many bits did you say were in a byte before you get too much further away?
Well,
I don't.
there's 8,
8 bits in a byte. Okay, I'll be happy with that. Move
right?
on. I thought you were
So
saying earlier that there were 32 bits in a byte, and
no.
I just.
32 possibilities. There's actually more, but
Oh,
see,
okay, I see what you're saying. I thought you were saying there was 32 bits in a byte, and I just couldn't wait to the end of the video.
no. I was trying to refer to is the fact that we only get 32 layers.
Yeah.
So what it's doing is it's taking a full 32 bits, but it's using probably an int 32, or in our case an int, which has 32 bits in it to represent this. So what we're doing is when we're setting that name to layer, we're just setting a 1 at whatever bit it is. So when we're saying look for terrain, take whatever bit is associated with terrain and set that to 1.
Right.
And then when we did the take 1 and shift it by whatever, we're basically flagging it so everything was set to 1 but terrain,
Mm-hmm.
and then we invert it, which means
No, I'm good
everything
with
was
that. I
0.
just thought I heard you say that there were 32 bits in a byte, and that was starting to cause my eye to do funny
No.
things. Okay, continue.
Yeah, you just heard wrong.
I did.
I'm sticking with it. All right, so now let's get it out of that. What was the other thing? Oh, yeah, sizing brush. Yeah, we want to size the brush. All right, so now to size our brush, we're going to need a couple of constants. So we're going to define a private constant float, and because I'm going to use a couple of them, I'm going to copy that part of it. I need to have a size minimum for our brush. I'm going to set that to 2. And we need a size max for our brush. And knowing that our brush is going to be, let's say, or our terrain patches are going to be 51 vertices across, that's going to be 50 divisions with a default spacing of 2. That's going to be 100. We're going to have 3, so 300 is going to be our max size. So say I.
Aye.
So, All right, now we're going to need, in addition to a couple of constants, we're going to need some fields. So one of those is going to be our brush size. So private static float brush size. So we'll go ahead and put that one in. Actually, do I need any others at this point? No, I don't. We just need the brush size for now. That'll work. All right, so orthographic size. Let's go ahead up here, and we're going to set our brush size right off the bat to be equal to 10. I'm going to take our orthographic size, and I'm going to set it to be brush size divided by 2. F. That way we get it, we don't lose any precision with that. Now, the way orthographic size works is it's almost like a radius. So when you say an orthographic size of 10, it's going to be 5 meters out from the center of the orthographic, as opposed to being 10 all the way across, or brush divided by 2, 5. So if I want something to, or the orthographic size to be equal to 10 meters across, I have to divide it by 2, otherwise it would turn out to be 20, which doesn't look right at all. So we're going to divide that by 2. So that's care of that part. Now we need to be able to adjust our brush size, and we're going to handle that inside of our handle brush method. So to do it, we're going to basically assign a couple of keys. And in our demo that we did, we're using the left and right square brackets. So we're going to use the same ones here. So what we'll do is if input dot get key down, or get key, because I don't want this to be a latch detection. So key code dot, let's start off with our left bracket. So if key left bracket, we're going to take our brush size and we're going to send it to, oops, brush size equals mathf.clamp, and we need to clamp our brush size to be equal to our, well, we need to send in the float or the value first on this case. So we're going to take our brush size and we're going to add 0.1 to it, and then we're going to clamp it by our size bin, by our size max, so that will ensure that we won't exceed our min or max with our brush size. And we need to go ahead and set our projector's orthographic size to be equal to brush size divided by 2. F again. All right, so we're going to copy that code, and we're going to set this to else if, because you should not be able to push both brackets at the same time. So right bracket, and if you hit the right bracket, it's going to be, oh, actually, my bad, plus here, minus here. So left bracket is going to decrease brush size, right bracket is going to increase brush size. We're going to clamp it to make sure that we don't exceed our min or max sizes, and then we're going to take that brush size, divide it by 2 for our orthographic size. So if I build that out, again, this code won't run for the same reason as our other code wouldn't run until we put it inside of our update. But I want the brush size to be adjusted before we do our sculpt tool. So we'll move that up first. So if we go ahead and hit run now,
Okay. And so let's see. Hey, we're getting smaller.
go as small
Hey.
as you can go.
All right.
See if it stops.
That's it.
So it stops. All right. Now go as large as you can go. And in a real implementation, we would have to put some scaling code. So the larger that your brush gets, the faster that it grows. That's just a proportionality. It's not hard to implement, but just something that I'm leaving out for now.
Getting bigger.
I'm just curious to see. That's pretty big.
Under it. That's pretty weird.
What's that?
Oh, never mind. I see what it's doing.
Yeah, because
Yeah, it's the mouse is actually moving, so of course it's going to do that.
Yep.
But it's still growing. It's pretty big. I can't zoom out any further than this. So
Well, hold on a sec. If I pause or take that away, go here, zoom in on our train.
yeah, but do we really want to sit here and
No, but I was just having fun.
I got you. She's getting bigger. And, oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. Your controls.
Sorry.
It's all good.
Well, I thought you were done and you're over here still playing.
No, okay. There you go. Mouse.
But,
So.
yeah. So, yeah, it's working. We can size, and we are no longer painting her red. So that was the functionality that I wanted to get in here for this video.
Awesome. Okay, well, that is going to wrap up this one. Thanks a lot.